on behalf of every South African that actually has a conscience, I would just like to apologize for the disgusting xenophobic violence that our people have shown your people, and I wish our people could just be everyone in Africa, but we're seeing that that's not the case. So on behalf of everyone that does not agree with the xenophobic violence, I would just like to say, I am so sorry. That is not the South Africa that we hope to have in the future. So yeah, I'm speaking about gender-based violence mainly, and you'll see why in a while. But I think it would be sort of disingenuous to start this particular discussion without having a moment of silence for all the lives that we've lost to gender-based violence. So if you please just join me just in a few seconds of silence. Thank you. You see, the unfortunate thing about a moment of silence is that if I asked you to give a moment of silence for every single person we've lost to gender-based violence, we would be silent forever. And maybe that would be better, because if we were silent forever, we wouldn't hear men that whistle at us. We wouldn't hear the snide comments that male lecturers make to us. We wouldn't hear the constant questions of people in authority asking, are you sure you said no? Are you sure? Are you sure he did that? I know he wouldn't do that. We wouldn't hear any of those things. And I think the world would be better if we never heard those things. But I also know that our world is not silent. And so if we are going to speak, then let's speak honestly and let's speak truthfully. And let's make the fact that we are talking worth something. So, yeah, it's funny because I am a big fan of discussion. I love debates, and I do that way too much on Twitter. I think we all know Twitter is not a great place to discuss things, but I am relentless in my views, and it's often a good way of like gauging what other people think and of feeling what's going on in everyone's minds. But it's hard to discuss things when things are so broken, because we can all say things are bad. We can all say this sucks and we need to do something. But if we don't do anything, things will just stay broken. And on the note of broken things, I don't know if anyone from the crowd can maybe give just an answer of what you think is the most broken thing in our South African society. Anyone. Can be even people that are not South African, even from an outside perspective. Does anyone have an idea of what's the worst thing that South Africa is facing? Crime. Okay, so crime again disproportionately affects women. And people say, why do you guys care about women and gender-based violence when it's obvious that more men are murdered? And then our answer is, well, who's murdering them? It's not women. It's really not women. And the sad part is that the most dangerous thing in our society is men, which is ridiculous. I would much rather spend a day in the Kruger National Park with nothing around me, because I can trust an animal more than I can trust a man in my own home. I mean, it's a little bit ridiculous when you think about it like that. And I know it sounds far-fetched, but as Ricardo said earlier, these are things that happen to people that you know, to people that you might be sitting next to you that might be listening right now. So the thing is, if South Africa wants to become the sort of developed and like, wow, the pride of Africa, then the first thing we need to look at is, why do we treat our women so badly? And I'm glad that all the presentations that were before me spoke so much about the importance of education and how once women are educated, they become empowered and they move on to leadership positions. But my topic for today is, what happens while women are being educated? What is that education actually? What's actually going on? And when we discuss that, you find some really, really bad stories. So mine is not a research, mine is not any academic study, mine is my lived experience, stories from my friends, stories that I've heard, stories that I wish I never heard. And think about it like this. Imagine you come to university and you are a first-year student, and you're very excited. You know that if you go to university, you'll probably get employed, and everyone wants to be employed. And in your first year, your lecturer sexually harasses you. And you sit there and you have no idea what to do because you've never actually been prepared to deal with this from a societal perspective. And then you realize, oh wait, the HOD of my faculty is a woman. Perhaps she'll be able to give me some guidance and she'll be able to help me out. So you go to her, the woman HOD, as a woman that was sexually harassed by a man, and she tells you, pretty girls always think that men want them. So it's lovely to have women in HOD positions, but what are they doing with those positions? What's the point of getting women in leadership spaces where they actually are not serving anyone except misogyny? And it's lovely also to say, oh, look at South Africa's parliament rates, we are so good, you know, we almost have gender parity, this is awesome. But again, why? Why are the people that are making the laws, the people that are supposed to enforce the laws, allowing 3 of us to die all the time? I think today's discussion is about 3 hours or so in total. That means by the time we're done discussing, one woman will be killed. So it doesn't help that we have amazing people in parliament if they don't actually care about the things that we put them there for. We think the numbers of who's in parliament mean, okay, they'll represent us, but they're not representing anything except misogyny. And that's why when we discuss anything that has to do with the challenges women face, you can always link it back to misogyny, always. Because the reason my womanhood matters is because misogyny says it matters. It wouldn't have mattered if people never made it matter. So now that we have made it matter, we must deal with the consequences of our own actions. And I think when we discuss this, we often follow a sort of what-if narrative. So in a university space, these are the questions that pretty much every university student will go through. It'll be like, what do I say to that misogynistic boy in my class that said that rape was a choice? What do I say to my male lecturer that made a weird comment about girls are wearing shorts that are too short? What do I say when I have my private consultation later with my male lecturer in his office with the door closed? What if that consultation runs over? What if I have to walk home to my res at night? What if I ask the security guard to walk me to my res at night and that security guard rapes me? And these are not fairy tales, these are not things that are far away from us, these are things that happen. Girls have to walk past their rapist to get to class. And we expect education rates to be high. We expect people to be able to pass when the person invigilating their test harassed them. It's such a toxic space, and what's sad is that I go to Wits, and Wits we know is one of the most progressive places in South Africa, one of the most progressive societies. But when you read these stories, I think it's Durban University of Technology, there, criminals know which reses female students stay at. And because they know, they go there. They go there, they break the doors down, they abuse women, they rape them, sometimes they kill them. And nothing happens. Nothing happens, and it's so sad that it's 2019 and I still have to speak about this. And the reason this platform is so important is because everyone here cares about educational leadership. Everyone here cares about education. Everyone here cares about women. And if you really do, then in your own spaces, where you are, wherever you are, please, please, make the difference that we need you to make, because women are alone in every single battle that they fight. And if we are always alone, we'll never win, ever. People often ask me, how can I be a feminist when I'm a Muslim? When some feminists do things that might not agree with my religion. And then I'm like, if every person made their own movement based on whatever values they held, we would not have a movement. We need to let go of the things that divide us and just agree. We all know that gender-based violence is bad. But why is it still happening? Why was Uyinene murdered at the start of September? It's the start of October, and I know people will be murdered this month. I know. And the thing about Uyinene is that her name roughly translates to the divine truth, okay? And she is the divine truth of what South African society is going through. That was a girl that worked hard, got into university, to UCT, which is also so prestigious, the best in Africa, everything's awesome, left her mom to go study at UCT, and then was killed because she went to fetch a parcel that was not supposed to be her death. So, if you are an educator, a teacher, I don't care what you teach, I don't care who you teach, I don't care how old they are, but it is your responsibility to speak about these things. You can teach economics, but that relates to gender-based violence. You can teach history, that relates to gender-based violence. Every single subject, at every single level, you need to be speaking to your students. You need to be telling them, if anyone comes with a rape allegation, I will take that seriously, I will take that forward, and there will be consequences. And if you are a parent, or if you know anyone, it doesn't even have to be a child, if you know anyone, speak to them about what consent means, even if you think they're not sexually active. Speak to them that consensual sex is the only sex that exists, everything else is rape. And call out your colleagues, call out your family, your friends, anyone that makes sexist comments, anyone that you think might have abused someone, anyone that you think might abuse someone. Because when Uyunene's murderer and rapist walked into the police station, his colleague said, oh yeah, I knew it was him when I read the story because that's exactly how the vibes that he gives me. And she could have been saved, and she wasn't. And that's our fault. And if next year someone has to come and speak about the same thing, that will be our fault too. And if in 10 years' time there's another big movement, am I next? Why isn't gender-based violence dropping? That is on us. That is on us. So education is not just about read the textbook, everything's fine, pass your exams, that's awesome. Because if we manage to survive university somehow without being killed or raped, we enter the working world, where once again, we face misogyny, where once again, we will be paid less for the exact same work that a mediocre man will do. And women don't have the choice to be mediocre. Because if a woman is mediocre, she will leave her family hungry. So think about that. Think about that when you're teaching anyone. You don't even have to be an educator. You just have to be a human. And you don't have to listen to me because I'm an expert in education. I'm not. I'm really not. But maybe you should listen to me because I want to be part of the future of South Africa. And I want our lives to be better. And if you can live with the fact that so many of us are dying, then ask yourself, are you really living? Thank you.